So, hello everyone, and welcome to today's session. Today we are going to talk about healing triggers and projections and partnerships and relationships, especially in twin flame relationships. And I have a wonderful guest here, Marion. Marion is here to show us a little bit about herself, her coaching style, and she wants to give us some more tips about triggers and projections in partnerships. So, hello, Marion, welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. How are you?
Hello, everyone. Hello, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. So, yeah, curious what we're going to talk about in the end. We tried it already last week in German, and it was so interesting we could hardly stop. It was awesome.
We were talking and talking and couldn't stop. So today we were keeping an eye on the clock, on the time, but it's always fun to talk with you.
I leave that entirely to you.
Absolutely. So Marion is a very interesting coach because she has a very interesting background. So Marion, what is your background? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Okay, well, I'm not sure that makes me an interesting coach, but I sure love to hear it. My ego just flared. No, I originally studied biology and more the classical type of biology, so animals and ecosystems, and I'm still working in nature conservation. That's my bread job because I have to eat too, no matter how spiritual I feel. And this is, I say I have two big loves in this life, and one is nature, and I cover that with biology, and the other one is humanity. Although I didn't really know that for a long time, so I only understood that I love humanity maybe around age 25, 30. I don't really know. It's kind of a flowing change, not an abrupt change. So I've always been interested in how humans work, how they function, not necessarily anatomically and physically, although I know quite a bit about it too, but more the mental aspects and of course the spiritual aspects and the emotional sides, and they all work together. It's a whole package. You cannot look at one thing and forget about the others. It doesn't work. I found some years ago a really interesting way of looking at life in a psychological / philosophical way, and that's called psychosynthesis. And it has been around for, I'd say, 100 years, because Roberto Assagioli, the founder or inventor, developer of psychosynthesis, he was born in 1888. So he was around with Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung, and they talked to each other, they knew each other. Whereas Freud, in my humble opinion, kind of got stuck in the basement of the psyche with all the instincts and our basic needs. Jung got a little further, he took it a little further, admitted at least some control over ourselves to us. Assagioli said that humans, they have everything. You know, they have instincts, they have feelings, they have thoughts, they have emotions, but they also have a desire for what I call the higher realms or the higher aspects, like unconditional love, bliss, happiness. And they don't not only want food and shelter and sex to procreate, like not just the very basics, but they also want to be happy, and they want to grow. You know, they don't want to be stuck all the time. If we're stuck all the time, we're not really happy. And it's just natural that it's a cycle of growth and rest, growth and rest. And if you get stuck in one thing, it's imbalance. It's not natural anymore. And if you look at humans, we love to be in our comfort zone where it's safe and cozy. We only move out of it when it gets really, it's getting too tight. It's like lying in bed and you don't know how to place yourself. You're tossing and turning and it's just not feeling great anymore. So that's when you move. But naturally, we would move before that and grow like the seasons. In winter you rest and you integrate, and in spring you kind of blossom and come back out. And economy, on the other hand, it's always about growth, more. It's imbalance too, just from the other side. So I think the art of life, which is depicted in psychosynthesis or that kind of approach on the very human level, it's about finding that inner peace and balance and learning enough about yourself so you know how to keep that peace and handle yourself. Life is always change. It's always flowing. If it stops flowing, it's dead.
Totally.
No life.
So it reminds me a little bit also of yoga, the yin and the yang. You need both of it, or the masculine and the feminine. You need both of, like, both ways, both energies to balance out, to have growth and to blossom, and not only feel stuck in one energy or in the other, like working, or feeling stuck too much in the kind of comfort zone. Is like something similar like this?
Absolutely. So in psychosynthesis, we don't really talk that much about feminine and masculine. We talk about the will and the heart, which have some similarities.
Yeah.
And heart is the space that holds. It's like the well that bubbles where the ideas come from, the giving birth, so the more feminine aspects. But it also has a lot of strength, which is normally associated with more masculine. It's a creative power, but it doesn't have shape, and the will is the thing that gives direction and shape.
Interesting.
And if we need them both, and we need to apply them both together to keep balance again and to be successful in life. If we forget our heart all the time, we kind of, over my dead body, it's kind of, oh, you said that, well, there you go, pang. You keep walking, elbows out. And if you're just always caring and in your heart, it's hard. You have a million ideas, but they never take shape in reality.
That's very, very interesting. Yeah, because I realize so many people in partnerships, for example, also either stuck in the heart, even though we think heart is something wonderful, but stuck in the emotions, stuck in maybe daydreaming about a better relationship, or with the twin flame, or the other people on the other hand, with the polarity, too much in the outside, too much doing, too much wanting, too much trying to create a partnership with the mind, with the will, or with the ego, which also doesn't help. So what would you recommend doing there? What is the middle path?
Well, I'm a very nature person, so if I need guidance, I often look in nature and just look what she's doing. And it's always about balance, but balance doesn't mean not moving from a straight line. It's like a pendulum, the more you pull it to one side, the more you need the other to stay balanced. When that's what's happening in many relationships. We inwardly have that one side that's pulled to maximum, whatever maximum is for us. And we kind of feel that we are missing the other side, and we're looking for that in the partner.
Yeah. And this is when projection starts.
If we you know, they might not be willing to just stay up here all the time. You know, what happens if you let go? You could kind of meet in the middle. It can be a clash, I don't know, but it can also be a melting or just a nice swing or swinging together, whichever way works. And what you said about, you know, some people just being too much in their heart and not actually creating anything physically, versus people who always try to do something and come from the mind. And neither is balanced, but they're both creating still. Because for me, that our body is an excellent tool, which is set up for creation.
Absolutely.
So, and we don't really know it. And so when we create, we do it as one person. We also do it as a family, as a culture, as whole humanity. I mean, the state of the world is not caused by one person. It's the collective that creates it. So I just start with the one person because it's an easier approach. Also, you cannot say the other person is guilty because it's about me.
No, of course not.
Yeah. So back to the heart and will, to me, it's related to the heart, the physical heart, and the physical brain. And the heart is the one that feels. That's where we feel emotion. We usually don't feel emotions in our brain, except for they give us a headache, maybe. And we don't really think too much with our hearts either. So logic and the giving shape is up here. And they need to work together. And they do it all the time, naturally. The question is, how aware are we of that? So the heart, physiologically, is a very strong electromagnet. It's, I'm not quite sure about, I think 40 times stronger than the brain. So you can measure that, you know, every time you go into the tube to get a CT scan, that electromagnetic field is what it's measured. So if we try to create from our head only, it just needs so much discipline to always keep thinking the same thing. And we have to be aware of it 24/7, which is pretty much impossible. We got to sleep at some time. We, you know, get distracted. Somebody's asking us something, or we have to go over the grocery list and forget about what we wanted to create. And the heart, on the other hand, it's creating the according emotion. So it's very important how we feel about something, because it's mainly the heart that's communicating with what I call the ocean of possibilities, aka the quantum field, which is nothing physical. It's just gazillions and myriads of possible possibilities.
I knew we would talk about it today. Yes.
You know me too well, so I stick with that. So when we the waves we send out, like a radio tower, that comes from the heart mainly. So if we create something in our head, so a dream, for example, something we want to reach, it is vital that we feel the feelings with it.
Yeah.
How do we want to feel about something?
Yeah.
And that's what's sent out and interacts with all these possibilities around us, and the ones that correlate in vibration, they collapse. And when it's a wave, and when the wave collapses, it becomes a particle. So it becomes physical. Yeah. And that's very simply put the creation process. And what we see is also giving us feedback. You know, those our environment, the people around us, they make us feel in certain ways around. Some people, we feel really great. We might feel great in nature, or while having nice latte at a beautiful cafe can make us happy.
Yeah.
But no, if we meet angry people, it pulls us down. So our heart is also a receiver.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that creates an image.
Yeah.
And back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that's how we create our reality.
As a relation. And yeah, it sounds like that this is the way, like, how manifesting works. We talked in this group, we talked a lot about manifesting, and manifesting is way easier and goes way faster than doing something in the outside, because we are in the field of time and space, like in the 3D world. When we want to accomplish something, when we have a goal, like, let's say I want to gain $10,000, for example. I have to go to work. Or maybe I have to train myself before I go to work, and then I have to work, then I have to receive the money. And it takes a lot of time to receive the amount I'm dreaming of. But when I want to manifest, like you told us before, when the heart and the mind are in coherence together, working together, it's much easier to draw something to you in less time, because in quantum field there is no time and there is no space, right? Do you also agree with this?
Well,
difficult to explain for me, because I'm not a scientist.
I'm not a quantum physicist either. I know there is time space.
Yeah.
So it's traditionally we have, like for everyday humans, we have time and we have space. And in quantum physics, you also have time space, which is a combination of both. And frankly, I'm not sure I understood it or understand it well enough yet to explain it properly. So I just refrain from it. And if somebody's interested, they can read up on it.
Yeah.
And but I second that what you said about if we manifest something with our mind and heart, like consciously manifest, it works it's easier because it's in a flow.
Yeah.
And we work with energy.
Yeah.
Because when we think we have to work hard for something, that's what we create, right? Mm-hmm. We believe, that's our mindset. And we feel like, okay, if I don't have to work hard for it, it cannot be right, or I might not deserve it because I didn't work hard enough for it. And all those beliefs and thoughts that are subconsciously going on, which is like 95% of our thoughts and feelings and emotions are subconscious or even unconscious. So yeah, that opens up a whole other big box of why manifestation actually doesn't work for many people. But
because they're creating the same and same over again, because they can't tap into their subconsciousness and like heal the blocks, or resolve those limiting beliefs that they're creating all the same. Like when I'm thinking in my subconsciousness, believing that I'm not worthy of love, for example, I will attract and manifest those things. But I need to be aware with my mind that I have this limiting belief, and then resolve it together with my heart, attract the opposite, that I'm worthy of love, that I can attract the partnership I want. And
absolutely. It's our subconscious beliefs, those are energy patterns. It's what the sender of our radio tower is set to when we're not consciously thinking about something. But if we're not aware of our thoughts, it's our subconscious programs running the show. And with many people, it can be a true shit show. Sorry for the words, but it's true. You can 5 out of 100 minutes, you might think, I'm worthy of love, I'm great, I'm open and caring, and the rest, the 95 minutes, it's that subconscious program, your fears, whatever you've learned and got imprinted to you on during your childhood.
Yeah,
they're at the wheel.
Yeah, and you're not aware about
and
it.
They say it's like, okay, forget what the guy said past 5 minutes. Now 95 minutes of I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And that's what we create, because it's 95 minutes is much more powerful than 5 minutes only.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the tricky thing with the subconsciousness, it's not in our awareness, it's subconscious, so we can't tap into it if we don't dive into our subconsciousness. And we might believe we are worthy of love in the mind, but if the subconsciousness has a different opinion, yeah.
Right, just a different setting physically and energetically. I mean, matter is just slow energy.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, this was what I was thinking about 5 minutes ago.
And that's what I think. That's why I think it's very important that we become aware of our subconscious programming, because we cannot be aware of our thoughts 100% all the time.
Yeah.
It's just impossible. This is life, and it's in a 3D reality with matter, which is physical, with illusions of separation and pain and suffering, etc., etc. That's what the game is all about. So we can experience it, so we need it. But the moment we become aware of our inner programming, we can actually change it. Yeah. It's like on a computer, you dive into all the core programming, all the lines, and see, okay, this happened here, and that causes that. And the result is whatever. And you can ask yourself, is it something I desire, I want in my life, or not? And we all get hurt during life. We all experience pain, and we develop patterns to survive, to protect ourselves. And they might eventually become our biggest blocks because we don't need them anymore. We're grown up now. It happened 30, 40, 50, well, however many years ago. And if you can say, okay, now I get the chance to reprogram myself. So my sender, 95% of the time, is sending what I actually desire. We can do that, but it takes work. And a lot of people don't realize that. They just say, yeah, but I meditate every day for an hour or two and imagine all the awesome things. Sure, it helps. And over the next several decades, I don't know how long it takes, depending on how many wounds you have and how deep they are, you might change something, but it could go much more quickly if you actually tackle the task and not just, kind of one plaster, another plaster, okay, it healed a little more, 10 years later, okay, a little more. Yeah, but it's always up to us. We always get to decide what we want to do. And if you don't want to decide, it's still a decision you make.
Absolutely.
You don't want to decide.
Yeah,
you don't take your power, and you.
Absolutely. And my words. Yeah, because there are also many people in the spiritual community who are very spiritual and meditate a lot, and this is very wonderful. But it's also very important to believe and to know that we are powerful co-creators with the universe. Like, we have to do our inner work, we have to heal our inner blocks and our conditionings so that we are able to attract that what we want. We can't just say, okay, I'm just meditating and then letting the universe do what it does, what it has to do, and pray and wait. But we have the ability to do it for ourselves, to do the inner work and to manifest what we desire. Yeah.
Right. It's the doing part that's causing a lot of spiritual people trouble, because again, it's a belief, a programming that they believe I can just manifest whatever I desire. And it's true. But it's in this world, in this reality, the manifesting contains the doing component. So we need to become physically active.
Yes.
This is not a world that is set up that we think of something, we feel it, and it just pops into reality. that's true
Yet.
for
Yeah.
higher vibrational realms. That's how, I don't want to say spiritual beings, but beings who are of a higher non-physical beings, or physical, not as hard physical, not bump your head and get a bruise when you hit the wall physically, but still sort of in between. You can still perceive it with senses, or like you can see it or feel it, but yeah,
I know what you mean.
I'm out the lack of words to describe something, but the less, the higher vibrational something is, the easier it is to collapse it into this level of vibration from the quantum field. So to make it real physical and hard, it takes kind of a lot of energy and focus. To slow it down. It's like a train. If you hit the brakes, it still glides a long way. But if you're walking, it's much easier to stop. So that gap between is much smaller in higher vibrational realms. So manifesting is much easier than it is here, because the gap between high vibration and low vibration is much bigger.
Absolutely.
If that makes any sense.
Yes, like we are human beings and we need to do our inner work. We are not like ascended masters. People believe, or some people believe in ascended masters who may be here on the physical plane, but they might be able to manifest quicker than we do, or even beings on other realms have the ability to manifest quicker than we can. And that's why the inner work is so important, and the raising of our vibrations is very important. And yeah, I think this is what you meant, right? Yeah.
Right. But again, it's back to our beliefs, believing that we cannot manifest quickly in this three-dimensional realm. It's another roadblock, because we believe it is like that. It's the experience we create. But if you have somebody who never experienced that, it's impossible to not just manifest like that. They just do it. There's a wonderful quote. You get it on postcards and stuff. It says, everybody said that doesn't work. Then one person came in who didn't know that and just did it.
Okay.
And that opens up the door for all the other people. It just needs one person who does something that was thought impossible before, and they experience, oh, it's actually possible. And suddenly it's like a ripple. The one person is like the little pebble that drops into the pond, and all the rest of the water feels it through the ripple.
Totally. I like that. This is very, very good. Yeah, it's just a belief, right? And I lost my thought. What did I want to say? Somehow I wanted to ask something about projections and partnerships, because at one point, it's good that we do the inner work and everything, and we want to manifest. But I think it's a little bit, we need to be aware in partnerships that when we want to manifest or create a wonderful partnership, it's important to be aware of our inner beliefs, so that we don't project them onto our partner, so that we don't force our partner or our twin flame, whoever in the outside, to do something, because this can be tricky as well sometimes when we want to manifest, when that we start in a way controlling other people to do something that we want. So we have the feeling of, wow, I manifested something, but it was actually something I did in the outside, like convincing someone to do something, convincing a partner to be with me. And just wanted to lost my thought somehow. But
the thought that just popped up for me is the difference between manifestation and manipulation.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So when we are aware, we send out what we carry inside. So we send radio, 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 or light, 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 whichever way you want to see yourself. I love the image of a lighthouse. So it's kind of the color pattern or the radio wave pattern you send out. That's what you carry within you. And those are your patterns. And that's what you manifest. Also in a relationship, you're going to meet the people who resonate with that. And then you have this glorious idea of a wonderful relationship, loving, caring, supportive, everything. But what you attract is a partner who resonated with the core program you're sending out. So it's again back to that 5 and 95. So you get the 95 you're not aware of, and he or she, whichever, like the potential partner, they have maybe those 5% that you desire, that you're conscious about, but they also carry the 95% you're not conscious about. So your partner is always your teacher and your mirror. And if you feel like you see things, behaviors or thought patterns, beliefs in your partner that you don't like, that you want to change, it reflects whatever you're sending out. So instead of changing our partner, we have to change our inner program. And that's when our wishes and desires become aligned with our inner setting.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other way around.
Yeah, totally. I love that. Yeah, a mirror effect and being aware of the triggers was a topic as well. What triggers me in my partner, what triggers me in my twin flame is something, it's actually an invitation to look inside of myself, to see what is this feeling, what is this pattern, what can I clear inside of myself, and then see what happens.
Right. And the wonderful thing about triggers, I love triggers. They're the greatest teachers ever. They're like signposts with big billboards blinking. Well, we're just walking around like this and saying it's annoying, it hurts, it's painful, I don't like it. But triggers are never about other people. It's always about us. Because it's our wounds that get triggered. The sore spot is within us. The other person can say something, and to them it's nothing offensive, it's just neutral, maybe even positive for them, because that's how they experienced it. But you had a completely different experience, so it's a wound you still carry, and it's still sore, so it's very sensitive. You know, when you kind of bump your elbow and like that nerve that hurts so bad when you hit it, you know, it stays sore for a while. You don't see anything, but if you touch it, it's very sensitive. And that's the same with inner wounds. So triggers kind of hit that sore spot, and because it's so sensitive, we jump and we react. And it's not about the other person. They might not even, well, some people actually, you know where to push the buttons. They know exactly where those sore spots are. Siblings, perfect.
Oh, yes.
My sister, she knew where my buttons were. And and the other way around, I guess. I mean, it always takes two to tango.
I think so too. But I love that you said it can also be positive, but because this is what we in a twin flame relationship experience. We experience this wonderful love, and we feel triggered automatically, and something hurts inside, and we can't see that the person, our twin flame, actually said something beautiful to us, made something lovingly, but this is an invitation to hear more and then to see the love behind it. And every trigger, I love it that you mentioned it is a teacher. Yes, I love it. And with the siblings as well, it's so funny.
Well, my sister is awesome, but we're very different in a way. But it doesn't mean opposite. You know, when they say opposites attract.
Yeah.
And that's because the opposite contains what we're missing within us.
Yeah, totally.
And especially with twin flames, you know, they have a specific set of behaviors, beliefs, feelings, emotions, just their personality type. And the twin is actually the missing piece, like in the yin and yang, you know, it's one is the yin with a little bit of yang, and the other is the yang with a little bit of yin. And if we just put them together, we constantly trigger each other. Twins constantly trigger each other because they know exactly the other has exactly what I need and want. But because I only see half of myself, it clashes. It's like water and oil or water and fire.
Yeah,
it creates a lot of steam, and it still can get us somewhere, you know, but it also contains a lot of tension, a lot of bumping heads, a lot of fighting, a lot of conflict. So for twin flame journey, the way I see it is of utmost importance that each twin grows that missing part. In the yang, it's the yin, and in the yin, it's the yang. So we become whole ourselves, we are healed. And if you put those two together, well, that's a powerful combination. Right? It's like instead of a half and a half making one whole, it's two complete, healthy, whole beings pulling in the same direction. And that's when you create, you know, you change the world.
You can change the world, definitely. And so this is what I'm talking about all the time. The inner work is so much worth. You have so much value because there's so much potential for healing yourself and healing the world. It is wonderful, actually.
Right. It's, to me, I say the only way to heal the world and humanity is through healing ourselves. If every person does that, and it doesn't necessarily need to be all the people, it actually takes only a surprisingly small amount of people to become fully healed, that it has that ripple effect and shows other people, it's like, hey, I don't have to be afraid all the time. You know, I don't have to live in my little ego world, being scared of not surviving, fighting all the time, hate, sadness, anger. It's not necessary. There is another way. And I don't want to say unfortunately, because it's just the natural way things develop and are in this game of life.
Yeah.
It's, if somebody, you know, if you have a lot of people who are still in that not so spiritually related mindset, they're very physical, and they might be very successful in the 3D realm. You know, they earn a lot of money, hard workers, but they have no connection to the very spiritual. To those, the spiritual people, they're just lazy butts who sit around all the time, smoke pot, and do nothing. But those people, the spiritual people, they might have honed that inner connection. They know how they themselves work, but they have trouble getting it into reality. And that's, you know, where we struggle with being successful at life. Life is abundance. The universe gives us everything we desire if we know how to make it work, which we talked about plenty. So yeah, I get that little sketch here.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
So those are the two axes of how you live as a human being. It's the world, or the physical realm, and the spiritual realm, and we need both to be successful, and the abundance is here. So we need to work on both sides. It doesn't need to be a straight line. Usually it's just a little up and down, but we have to move along both axes to get to the real abundance.
Absolutely. It's always balance, right? Always comes to balance. You have to have both.
Right. Yeah. It's always about balance.
I love that. Oh my God, we talked so much. I think about 40 minutes now. Again, I could talk to you. It's so long, so funny. Do you still have something for us? Some goodies or some
No.
tips or some anything to for a conclusion here? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Well, of course, I could talk for the rest of the day. I still have many goodies.
I know.
I invite everybody who's interested to connect with me.
Yeah.
We'll share my links to my Facebook page, my YouTube channel, so you know where to find me. And of course, Natalia has a lot of wisdom within her. Ask her first. So if I have to say something or a word of encouragement or whichever you want to put it. There are several things rushing through my mind that try to find the most aligned one. It's worth working on being the best version of yourself.
I like that.
You are worth it, every single bud. And working on to be the best version of myself doesn't mean to sit under a tree meditating 24/7. Nor does it mean being the best version, you have to be physically perfect and successful with money and your job and your family. Being yourself is about this balance here.
I love it so much.
Learn to walk the tightrope. It's actually a broader path than many think.
Oh, thank you so much. So wise words and a very good conclusion for our chat today. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for listening. I will put the links from your YouTube and Facebook page here into the chat. So everyone, please feel invited to go for Marion's wonderful pages. It's so interesting to watch your videos and you can learn a lot from her. Thank you so much, Marion, for being here and for your wonderful work. It was such a pleasure and I'm so grateful, really. And yeah.
You don't know how much of a pleasure it was for me. Thank you for the opportunity. It's awesome. And I hope we can repeat that sometime in the future.
I would love that.
That would be awesome. We still have a lot to talk about, right?
Yeah, we will. We will never stop talking.
Yeah. And yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah, and
you're awesome. You're wonderful.
Yeah, so wonderful. If you have questions, please drop them below and we will answer them for you. But for now, thank you everyone for listening, and we see each other or hear each other soon again. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.